Alright friends, welcome to the channel. Ding the bell for notifications, like the video, subscribe, it's free, it doesn't cost you anything. We are back at day 2 of the Jackson Hot Air Jubilee. We are here later than yesterday, so you can kind of see how the parking lot fills in. All this area over here is just anywhere there's a spot available to kind of not have to park where the crowds park when they want to go to leave, do that. But this way advantage when you're coming, you're at least getting closer to the stuff instead of having to walk to and from the car.
Again this year, Tony Hurst helped found this event back in 1983, and he continues to support the event through the Hurst Foundation, and they were about to be alone walking through this for just a moment, because you will see this as Maximilian inflates, and then as everyone else does, there are two parts to the inflation. There's a cold inflation and a warm inflation. Right now what they're doing is they're using a gas-powered fan to fill that envelope with as much air as they possibly can. So there are a couple different components to the balloon. That big fabric part that we think of as the balloon, that's called the envelope. And they need to get that filled with as much air with that fan as possible before they kick on their burners and they start that warm inflation. They need to make sure as that flame is going in that it doesn't touch any of that envelope. They don't want to scorch any of the fabric of the balloon. And so it's important that they get it as full as they possibly can. And so the envelope is attached to the wicker basket that's at the bottom there. That basket has between 3 and 4 propane tanks in it. These balloons use propane just like your gas grill at home, just a lot more of it. And propane, by the way, is back again this year as our propane sponsor. And we are so grateful for their partnership and their generosity in helping us keep the balloons in the air throughout the Hot Air Jubilee. This year we've got balloons from all over Michigan, as well as a few other states. We'll be introducing you to those pilots as we go through this evening. Each of these pilots is a highly trained pilot. They have to be licensed by the FAA. They have been through hours and hours of training, both classroom training as well as training in the basket. In order to pilot here at the Hot Air Jubilee, they then have to have many hours of PIC hours, or Pilot in Command hours. These are pilots who have been flying for 5, 10, 20, 30 years at a time, and they're an incredibly experienced group of pilots. Each of these balloons is then a registered aircraft. So something you could be looking for as they inflate. If you think of an airplane and you think of the tail numbers on that plane, each of these balloons is going to have a set of numbers that's on the envelope as well. And that is their aircraft number, just like any other aircraft, because each one of these balloons is being registered with the FAA. And we have FAA representatives who are here on site to help oversee everything and make sure that we stay safe. So we want to thank them for being here and helping us with the event this weekend. Each of these balloons is privately owned, so each of these pilots has bought their equipment, and it's not cheap. If you want to get into the sport of ballooning, a used system can go for around $10,000, and then from there the sky is the limit. You can spend up to $100,000 or more on a new envelope and a new basket. And just like your car, where there are different add-ons, different things that you can have to add on that just make it a little bit easier to use, you can do that with the balloon as well. Some of these envelopes have what are called turning vents in them that allow them to turn in the air. Some of the baskets have doors in them to make it easier to get in and out of. Some of them will have one door, some will have two. All right, it sounds like that is the start of that warm inflation right now. That balloon is a 77,000 cubic foot balloon. So if you picture a basketball is about 1 cubic foot of air. There are about 77,000 basketballs of air inside of Maximilian. You can fit the average size house in the United States inside of that envelope. We do want to just remind you this evening, please no smoking or vaping near the launch field. And that is for your safety as well as for the safety of everybody else. And it may sound weird since there's flame on the launch field, but this is the reason for it is that propane is heavier than air. And if there happened to be a propane leak on the field, that would cool at their feet, and you wouldn't know it until somebody flipped a cigarette butt onto the field. And so please, no smoking or vaping. If one of the crew does see you smoking or vaping, I'll politely ask you to step away from the launch field. So thank you so much for holding us in that and keeping everybody safe this evening. If you look from the very top of the Mighty Max's envelope, you'll see a rope that is going from the top of that envelope to the ground, and there's a couple of people there that are holding that rope. That's called the crown line. The top of the balloon is called the crown, and you can see how the balloon is bobbing back and forth just a little bit as they're getting inflated, and that's totally normal, and it's the job of the crown line operators to help keep the top of the balloon stable. Again, as soon as Dennis leaves the ground, the rest of the balloonists will be able to begin their inflation, and their job is going to be to chase him and try to land as close to him as they can. They're going to want to move as quickly as they can once Dennis is off the ground because wind changes direction. All right, it looks like he is officially off the ground, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give it up!
So there goes the chase balloon that they're going to try to follow and land next to.
They're going to want to get in the air as quick as they can because wind changes direction. And so they're going to want to catch the same winds that Dennis is catching in order to be able to
So there they go, starting their process.
The later it gets, the more those winds are going to change, and the harder it will be for those pilots to be able to land near Dennis. Balloons can't steer in any way, shape, or form other than using the direction of the wind. They are entirely at the mercy of the wind. The one thing they do have going for them in many instances is that the wind goes different directions at different altitudes. So it may be going straight east, so Dennis is heading east, maybe a little bit northeast out of the park right now. And often you can ascend or descend and get slightly different direction. In the pilot briefing this evening, they were saying that the wind tonight is pretty consistent in that direction, even as they ascend. So the balloons, at least right now, should all be heading in that direction, and it'll be pretty consistent. So I want to walk you around the launch field and introduce you to some of these pilots that are inflating their balloons so you can get to know them, know this amazing group that has come out, that is sharing their equipment with us this weekend. If you look on the west side of the launch field, so that is the launch field down on the side that has Ellisharp Park on it. If you look down towards the beer tent, then it's the southwest corner. There's a yellow balloon with blue and green that is coming up the side in red. That is the balloon K2, piloted by Tim Madura, who comes to us from Marshallville, Ohio. Starting his full inflation, right next to him, that yellow balloon with the blue and red stripes on it, that is the balloon Northern Lights, piloted by local pilot Al Smith. Al and his wife Karen have been around the Jubilee for many years. They have helped make this event happen. They have worn many hats, and we are so grateful that they are here and that they are back with Northern Lights today. Right next to Northern Lights, that the jack-o'-lantern balloon, that is the balloon Jack, and that is piloted by Rob Likens. That particular balloon is a homemade balloon. He made that balloon himself, and when he launches, you'll want to make sure you take a look at his basket because he has the most unique basket out here on the field today. Inflating to the north of Jack is the balloon Whimsical. That is the blue balloon with the wizard and the moon on it. That is piloted by Tom Brown. Tom has been around the Jubilee for many years. You may remember from other years, he has another balloon, Tomfoolery, that he has brought and shared with us, and this is his new balloon, Whimsical, and we're so glad that Tom is back this year, and we want to thank him and Whimsical and his crew for coming out. Let's look at the middle of the launch field. We'll start on that north side, the blue and yellow balloon. that is the balloon Hot Ziggity, piloted by Craig Campbell. Craig comes to us from Battle Creek, Michigan. And then just to the south of him, a balloon that needs no introduction that also comes from Battle Creek, we have the ever-popular Sugar Bear, piloted by Tyler Jakes. All right, we're gonna start on that next row of balloons and just introduce you to them briefly as they're doing their cold inflation. We'll start on the north side of that stretch. On the east side, we're with Cynthia Seal. Cynthia Seal is piloted by Pat Rolfe. Pat has been coming to the Jubilee for many years, and Cynthia is a relatively new balloon, and we love having Pat and Cynthia and his crew here with us. Inflating next to Pat and Cynthia Seal is Mark Enzer in the balloon celebration. Mark is another one of those OG Jubilee balloon pilots. We love that we have so many pilots who come back to the Jubilee year after year after year, and Mark is another one of those, and we are really glad that he is back. Right next to him, the blue and yellow and green checked balloon, that is the balloon Tarp Time, piloted by Paul, Sorry, had to cough. Piloted by Brad Hosmer from Oak Creek, Michigan. And then right next to him, we have the balloon Mesmerized, piloted by Eric Reeder from Hastings, Michigan. Eric was our 2023 Hot Air Balloon champion, Hot Air Jubilee champion. So while the pilots are here, they are in competition. They are scoring points for various tasks, and Eric is the white and blue and orange and yellow check balloon. Eric was our 2023 competition champion. Right next to him, to the south of him, is Ralph Payne in the blue Friendship. Ralph also comes from Hastings, Michigan. And then right next to Ralph is the balloon Pixely, piloted by Doug Hill. And then we have one final balloon that is in that row. Sorry, that is the balloon Phoenix, piloted by Greg Miller. All right, looks like we've got Brad Hosmer, and Tarp Time is off the ground. Let's give it up. Oh, and we've got Jack off the ground with Rob Likens. Let's give it up. I want to make sure you take a good long look at that basket that he's in, ladies and gentlemen.
So we got 2 and 3 chasers are off. And the goal is to land closest to the guy who took off first with the Remax balloon.
Well, looks like we've got another one off the ground. Looks like Greg Miller in Phoenix. Let's give it up for Greg down here on the south side, the southeast corner of the launch field. People often ask, where did the balloons land? And the answer to that question is anywhere they want. They will land at what is called pilot discretion. So wherever the pilot thinks is the safe fastest and best landing spot for them to land in, that's the spot that they're going to take. So if you ever see a balloon in your neighborhood, on your street, in the backyard, in a park, on a golf course, wherever you see them landing, it's not because something has gone wrong, it's because something has gone right, and they put that balloon down where they wanted it to go. All right, we've got
three more taking off.
Here on the southwest corner in K2. Right next to him is Al Smith and Northern Lights. And next to him is Tom Brown in Whimsical, all getting off the ground at the same time. Let's give it up for them. And as they have gone, there are three more balloons starting their full inflation there on the west side of the launch field. In that northwest corner, that is Jeff Knapp and the balloon Afterglow. Just to the south of him is Dale Wilson in the balloon Seventh Heaven from Augusta, Michigan. And then it looks like just next to him is Jim Likens in the Blue Balloon. Again, we want to encourage you, once these balloons are gone, we want to encourage you to stick around because we're going to be having an award ceremony for the U.S. Women's National Balloon Championship that's going to be taking place immediately following the launch. So as soon as the launch is done, we want to encourage you to stay put because we have an amazingly talented group of pilots who have been competing this week from around the United States here in Jackson. We get to celebrate them, and that's going to happen right after these balloons leave the ground. It looks like we've got another balloon off the ground. Eric Reeder and the balloon Mesmerized. Let's give it up for Eric.
Check that out.
You will notice that Eric's balloon has a slightly different shape to it than some of these other balloons. That shape is called a racer. And those balloons are designed more for competition flying. They're usually slightly smaller in the amount of cubic feet compared to some of the other balloons. And they're slightly more agile for going up and down, so a lot of times in competitions you'll see those racer-shaped balloons. It looks like Cynthia Seal there is off the ground. Again, Cynthia Seal piloted by Pat Ralph from Battle Creek, Michigan. And Doug Hill and Pixley, let's give it up. Give it up for Pat and for Doug. Smack in the middle of the field, starting his full inflation. That red balloon with the diamond pattern around the middle, that is the blue Deal, piloted by Sean Dennis. If you want to follow along with who these pilots are, I do want to encourage you to download the Hot Air Jubilee app. You can go to your app store, look for Hot Air Jubilee, and there is an app with a ton of information in it. It has all of these pilots and pictures of their balloons. It looks like Craig Campbell and Hot Diggity is off the ground. Let's give it up for him. And there's a list of all of the Jubilee pilots as well as all of the women's national pilots. You can see their balloons. You can see pictures of the pilots themselves. And again, you just go to your app store and look up Hot Air Jubilee. There's a full schedule there. You can enable push notifications. We've been sending out notifications and launch information from the app. It's a great way to know what's going on over the course of the weekend.
I got it. All right, let's get it.
So you'll see as soon as the balloons are off the ground, their vans or their trucks are headed out. Those are the chase vehicles. These balloons can't just turn around and fly back to the launch field. They're going to have their crew sketch out and they're going to pack up the balloons. These pilots do have one more scheduled flight tomorrow morning, weather permitting. Again, you can find out information about our flights on the app. You can find out flight information on the Facebook page. That is facebook.com/Hot Air Jubilee. All right, it looks like Ralph Payne and the Balloon Friendship are off the ground. Have a great flight, Ralph. Jeff Knapp in the Balloon Afterglow just left the ground. Jeff is one of our local pilots. Let's give it up for Jeff. And now Mark Enzer in celebration is also off the ground. Have a great flight, Mark and Tyler and Sugar Bear, Dale Wilson and Seventh Heaven, all off the ground. Let's give it up for all of them. Two other balloons doing their cold inflate on the field. We talked about the balloon Neil. That is the red balloon with the diamond pattern. Just to the east of it, the white balloon with the diamond pattern is the Balloon 5, piloted by Chad Dennis. And then just to the south of Neil is the balloon Dream On, piloted by Tony Colbert. So again, immediately following this launch, we'll have the award ceremony for the U.S. Women's National Championship. And then we want to encourage you to stick around because we have a night glow that is going to be taking place that as long as the weather permits, should be absolutely spectacular. All the pilots from the U.S. Women's National Competition are going to be inflating on the field. If you have been around Jackson and you kind of are familiar with some of these balloons, those will be some balloons that you likely have not seen before. So it's going to be a great opportunity to see some new balloons. And some of our local Jackson pilots will be glowing with them as well. And so that will be taking place right around dusk. I believe sunset's right around 9 o'clock tonight. We'll wait as that sun goes down. But again, with ballooning, everything, all of the times are estimates. So it may start a little earlier, it may start a little later. We always encourage everybody to just kind of hang loose and enjoy themselves when they come out to the Hot Air Jubilee. I want to thank a few more of our sponsors right now while they're continuing their inflation. The Fellowship of Eagles, Aryan Auxiliary, Dawn Foods Foundation, Commonwealth Associates, Herald Construction, River Tree Church, and Resale Depot. If you have kids, hopefully you had an opportunity to take advantage of Kids Kingdom. It's a free carnival-style game tent where there's lots of games to play. Every kid gets a prize and it's totally free, and that is brought to you by River Tree Church and Resale Depot Resale Store here in Jackson. Resale Depot is owned and operated by River Tree Church. Oh, and it looks like we have the Boo Balloon. Boo Balloon is off the ground, piloted by Jim Likens. A few more sponsors. Elm Plating Pro DJs has helped us with our sound again this year, and we love that they help make sure that all of you can hear what's going on during these launches. And the Kibben Media Group has again helped us get the word out about the Hot Air Jubilee. So thank you so much to these sponsors. We want to encourage you to support these sponsors as you go through the year. If you are in need of a service that is provided by one of them, remember that they help support the Jubilee. Go to them specifically because of that. And while you're there, mention that you are grateful for their support of great local events like the Hot Air Jubilee.
We got 3 left.
We do want to encourage you, if you are enjoying the Hot Air Jubilee and you would like to help make it happen next year, you can go to our website, hotairjubilee.com, and there's a place where you can express your interest in volunteering for the Jubilee. It takes a small army of volunteers to make this happen. Even as you look at that rope line that is around the launch field, someone had to be out here pounding those stakes in and putting that line in. We needed parking attendants, and we need people that help crew for the balloons. We need people that help us at our souvenir stand. It takes a lot of people to set up and to make this event happen. And if that's something you would be interested in doing, you can head over to our website, hotairjubilee.com. Another common question we get is about balloon rides. And unfortunately, we aren't able to offer rides here at the event, but there are local balloon pilots who have their commercial license who can offer balloon rides. And there's a list of them and how to get in touch with them at the website at hotairjubilee.com. All right, and it looks like 5 is in the air. That is the white balloon with the red diamond pattern. Is the balloon 5, piloted by Chad Dennis. It looks like Neil is going to be right behind him. Neil is the red balloon. That is piloted by Sean Dennis. Let's give it up for Sean and for Chad. Thank you for being here, gentlemen. All right, and the balloon that is on the launch field, that is the balloon Dream On, piloted by Tony Colburn. Again, these pilots are in a competition tonight. They are chasing that Remax balloon, and they're going to see how close they can land to him. So believe it or not, the idea of hot air ballooning has been around since 1783. 1783 was the first hot air balloon ride, but the first one wasn't taken by human beings. They didn't know what would happen. They didn't know if humans would be able to survive off of the ground, and so they put a sheep, a duck, and a rooster into a basket and they launched them. And when they came down in one piece and they came down alive, they decided they would give it a shot with human beings. And so on November 21st, 1783 was the first manned hot air balloon flight. Believe it or not, just a few weeks after that, one of the next balloon flights, Benjamin Franklin was there to watch. And it looks like Tony Colburn and Dream On is off the ground. Let's give it up for Tony. Thank him for being here this week. All right, so it looks like, oh, we have one more balloon that is on the launch field. Brian Chase in the balloon T-Bird. So again, those first balloon launches took place back in the 1700s. The first pilots that took off, they would bring wine or champagne with them because they wanted to have a way to appease the people that they found when they landed, because it would be such an unusual and an odd sight for human beings to be coming out of the sky. They thought the people would be afraid, and so they made sure that they brought something with them, and that has begun a tradition that continues to this day. Many pilots, when they land, they'll have some cider, some sparkling cider, or they'll have some champagne there, and they will celebrate with their crews and with their passengers and with the landowners that are there. And that is a tradition that literally goes back hundreds of years at this point, that our pilots continue to be a part of. All right, so it sounds like Brian is going to be hanging around for the glow, and so that is all for this launch here in just a moment.
All right, so you can kind of see the crowds are starting to leave. You notice, so the balloons are off that way. They're heading kind of northeastish. This whole field, like I mentioned, is just packed. They're all the way over there across the street. The lines at the food vendors are 20 plus deep. So once again, there they go. This is the Baird. It's been the Saturday night launch at the 2024 Hot Air Jubilee. Like the video, ding the bell for notifications, subscribe, it's free. Helps the channel out and let you know when things are going on. See you next time. See you soon. Like the video, ding the bell for notifications, and subscribe. See you soon. Bye.